Welcome back to another episode of Red Hill Racing Podcast. I'm Ben Knight here with your co-host Dustin Lee.
What's up, everybody?
How you doing tonight, Dustin?
Still struggling. I'm sick. I've been sipping on some peach tea with honey in it that was nice and warm, and I'm eating cough drops, and I'm drinking water, and I'm muting the microphone every time I cough.
Well, you said peach tea, but on that note, I'm going to take me a swig of peach moonshine.
Yeah, it was mango peach, and then I put honey in it, and we got the little tea bag, and I feel like an old lady sitting here bouncing the bag in there, but it's good. It's actually almost all gone.
I think you'd be doing better if you had this moonshine I just drank.
Yeah, maybe. It also could be worse too. My throat probably wouldn't be sore. That's the only thing that's killing me is my throat's real sore. But
look, Dustin is toughing this out for your listening pleasure. He just wants to give y'all nonstop content so that you can get through your work week and whatever, enjoy on your rides.
Mama didn't raise no quitter. I ain't no quitter. And realistically, the people don't know, but we've already recorded this episode, and then we're coming back and doing the intro to explain what's going on. So this is actually my third recording while sick, but we're getting it done, and just trying to keep one or two a week for everybody.
Yep. So we just launched our 6th episode this morning, and looks like we're getting a lot of downloads on that. So we appreciate everybody listening. We had our first interview tonight, so we're excited to see how that comes out, and hopefully y'all enjoy that one as well. But first, we gotta shout out the sponsors, and I'll do that so that I keep Dustin's voice nice and fresh. Thank you to the supporting sponsors: MPS Racing, Penske Racing Shocks, MTC Engineering, Platinum General Services, Manchester Mines, Montgomery Motorsports, Hard Times Parts and Service, Knight Marketing Group, the University of Wynn, and BMF Components. So also, Dustin, there you go. Yeah, and since we know that the soundboard works for Dustin, we might hear more of that in the near future.
Yeah.
We were
enjoying it.
We were throwing out some ideas earlier, and we're not 100% set, but we might, we've talked about some of these larger giveaways that we have. We've got, a tank shell from BMF. We've got a shock from Penske Racing. And then we also had a short neck frame from Kevin at Manchester Mine. So trying to come up with some ways I don't know, just a good reason to give away such a good prize. So
I think those are milestone items, like it's milestones of this. And we just don't want to, the shock is probably the most expensive item, right? Like total value. And
yeah, probably.
We don't want to just go, we care that even the ones that's listening now, but we want to make it to where it's like a big audience to somebody could get an option to win and something like that, so it's milestone stuff.
Yeah, so we're just kind of throwing out some ideas and sorting it out, but we're thinking about maybe, just milestones. Like right now we're like 1,600 downloads, I think 1,700, which is awesome. So we might do something big at 10,000 downloads or 50. We're not sure yet, but we're kind of thinking milestones. So stay tuned.
It will be this year. It will be this year regardless.
100%. So anyways, we just wanted to let y'all know about that. We've already given away a MTC Engineering gift certificate, and we're going to give away some more of those and some MPS Racing gift certificates as well, right?
I also forward you the email today of the certificate forms that Dan at MPS sent us. So
we have those. Check that email. Yep.
It's to the Red Hill email, and we'll have those. So we're all lined up and ready to record shows and give stuff away for the listeners that subscribe and donate. We had a couple donates to the PayPal, one to my personal one that I forwarded, to you and all that stuff. And we appreciate that stuff because that's literally all we get to pay the way, so.
And thank y'all. Y'all are doing a great job. It's really kind of, I don't want to say it's unexpected because we keep talking about it. So we're hoping to stir it up, but it's overwhelming the response we've had, and just even the people that aren't even just donating $1. That's all we're asking, just to be entered. But we've had way more than $1 donation, so we appreciate everybody pledging that. It helps out. So
just like we thought, some of the episodes, people enjoy them more than the others, and that's the ones that they send us something because it made a difference in their day. And realistically, that's what we're here for, is to give you something to listen to while you're working or driving or, working out, which I never do. And, just we're just trying to make life good. That's what, everybody can relate to what we're talking about. And it's a subject that a lot of people are interested in, motorcycle drag racing, or a little niche of people. And it's rolling, and we're doing a pretty good job of keeping them rolling, even though we've had some hurdles, microphones, and here I am with a sore throat and sick, but we're getting it done.
Doing a stand up job, my friend. Stand up
Yeah.
job. Um, yeah, so tonight we're calling it tonight, but when you're listening to this, it'll be include our first guest on the show. And we think, the recording went well. We, new stuff for us as well. So just having somebody else on, we weren't sure how it would go, but
And
sounded
we added another microphone to the
right.
hurdle. Like,
So
we
that
don't
was
know.
scary.
Yeah.
That's like that'd be like trying to add a third motorcycle to the drag strip, which is not sure how it's going to work. So,
Yeah. Yeah. I like to do
but
that. I like to do a four wide one time, bracket racing. It'd be fun.
oh damn, that
I just
would
want
be
to be in
wild.
the far right or the far left lane. If you're in the middle, you're in trouble. You have to look both
Would you
ways.
do it in the middle? Oh my god! Why have
I'm
I
always
never thought about that?
I
Why
would
have
love to try it, man. That'd be awesome. I would love to try
yeah,
it.
but I've just never even thought about that. And
It'd
I
be
mean,
even
like
cooler to
I
do like an index race.
look, fun fact, I was on standing on the starting line at ZMAX Dragway for the first time they ever did an exhibition pass four wide
Yeah.
with the president of Bristol Motor Speedway right beside me.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So
It was awesome.
you talk about a new level of challenging when you got to look over your left and right shoulder. That would be insane.
I'd break
Or
my neck.
look further than just the lane beside you. Yeah, I mean, it would. I'd be down for it. Like, it'd be cool just to do that. Just if I was local to that place and they had like an HRA event, and like the week after, I'd be hitting up the owner, like, "Hey man, why can't like me and three of my buddies come out there and just slap? You ain't got to prep the track again. It should be good enough to do what we got to do, and just slap some dials on and just try it once.
That
That'd be
would be
cool."
wild. That'd be fun. Like I said, I don't know why I've never even considered that as a thought. I just never have.
And their system might even work that way. I would think it would, because they're linked together for heads up, so it should work that way. It'd be pretty cool.
I'll tell you what, this is going to lead to another University of Wind plug. But
Yeah.
as you'll learn, when we launch the school, there's a couple different strategies. There's basically three main strategies. So I'm not going to go into super detail, but I would 100% stick to the strategy on that scenario, four wide bracket racing, and that would be the dialer. I would just be dialing it straight up, trying to run
Oh yeah,
tight a
yeah.
package as I could.
And have to draw straws to what lane you get. If you got one of the outside lanes, you're in there. You can not do whatever you got to do. But if you're in the middle, you better just dial her dead on and run it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
It'll be a good time.
Oh man, well, I'm excited to see what the listeners thought about our street bike clutch episode with the sponsorship there added in as
Good
well.
time. Yep, it was a good time.
I was hyped after recording that one.
Yep, yep,
Um,
yep. And I'm hoping they enjoy the guest that we have coming up here in just a minute that you guys can listen to, and just kind of give you some insight on a series and the racing. And I mean,
tell
um,
them what you think about SDBA. You race with them all the time.
SDBA for me, one of my favorite things about the series is the actual race is Saturday and there's nothing on Sunday, but Sunday is always like a backup day if you have weather or whatever.
Right.
So there's been a handful of times we've had to use it, but even if we did, it was already like the event was nearly completed, so it didn't take long to finish it. But I love the fact that you can go race. Like they have Friday testing and Friday shootouts, and then you get up Saturday morning and you go to the regular race program. And then when you're done racing, you load up everything, you hang out with your friends. You can literally go to bed and then get up Sunday morning fresh and drive home, versus racing Friday, Saturday, Sunday, driving home all night Sunday and have to work Monday. I've done that so many times that I still get it done, but I'm
It's
almost
exhausting.
worthless.
I
Yeah,
yawn thinking about it.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
I
that's
mean,
my favorite perk.
no, I understand 100%. As you know, I'm a huge fan of bikes in the valley up in New York and that area, and I frequent it quite a bit for there for what 2 years. So
Yeah,
that was the same format. They just got everything done on a Saturday, and it made it nice because I'd roll up Friday after work. drive. I think it took me about 8 hours usually. So I'd leave Friday afternoon, get up there that late that evening. And when everybody woke up in the morning, we'd get after it. And like you said, pack up, hang out
Yeah.
with everybody, celebrate, party a
And you
little
get to
bit.
have that, what's it called, camaraderie or
Yeah.
whatever. Like,
Hmm.
get to hang out with your friends, and I mean, I don't know how many times I've been at SDBA sitting in a lawn chair in the middle of the return road or whatever, freezing to death, and don't even realize you're cold because you're just bull crapping with your buddies, and you go to bed and you realize your skin's numb. But
No, I get it. I
good
mean,
times.
I went to the first race last year, right? It was the first race.
Yep, yep,
I had
yep,
a blast. I met so many new people and I feel like made new friends there. I mean, I just
yep.
remember we stayed up late just
Every
hanging
night.
out and
Yep, yep,
hanging
yep.
not that that's abnormal for me, but
No, yep.
stayed up pretty late meeting and hanging out with the new friends. It was a good time. The race was run well. Sonny does a good job with that, and it's plenty of classes to choose from. So,
And all the listeners get to hear a little bit of a one-on-one and a little bit about where STBA started, where it's went, where it come from, where it's went, and where it's hopefully going,
yep.
and get a little bit of history. And um, I think it's going to be a good episode, and it also might pique some interest of people to support one of the series that we do have.
Yeah, I mean, so also just want to throw this out here. I mean, I'm pretty sure we are. So correct me if I'm wrong, Dustin. But as far as we go, we're unbiased. We'll race everywhere. When I think y'all know that. Dustin and I, we
Yeah,
both race XDA pretty consistently. Dustin's always running SDBA. I was able to
we've
get
run them
down there
all at
once.
some
So
point. All of
so
us
yeah,
have.
we're not
Like,
trying to be biased, and we
no,
honestly, I'd love to have every major series and minor series promoter or operator come on. I think
sky's the
it's
limit.
something
We
good.
might get them on here and let them promote their series and help grow the sport.
Yeah, exactly. So if you're listening, if you happen to listen, or if you want to tell a series promoter or program operator or whatever it be, tell them to contact us. We'd love to talk with more people. So,
Yep.
what you got anything else, Dustin, before we get into it?
Nope. I hope they enjoy it, and welcome, Sonny Vick.
Yep. All right. Well, like Dustin said, we hope we don't have any flaws with this one, but it is our first attempt at an interview, so hope you guys enjoy. All right, we would love to welcome our first guest to Red Hill Racing Podcast. I'm here again with Dustin Lee, our co-host, but we'd like to welcome Sonny Vick from SDBA.
Hey guys,
How you doing tonight?
doing good, man. Just trying to get stuff ready for this season and trying to make sure all the boxes are ready and just get it all together.
Heck
You
yeah.
know, you've raced with me as I'm as much of a as much of a series organizer and promoter. I'm just as much of a racer. So
Yeah, yeah. I had the pleasure to sneak down. I think it was the first race last year, right?
yeah, season opener.
I got down there last year. I'm not a regular like Dustin, but I had a great time, and it was a great series to attend. It was a little different seeing the promoter racing, but I don't have a problem with it. So hey,
Yeah,
if the racers that support you don't care, then keep on keeping on. Is my thoughts.
yeah, I
that's
appreciate it. Yeah.
that's just another butt to kick.
Yeah, exactly. Sonny, why don't you tell some of the listeners, because everybody might not be familiar with the SDBA. I mean, I'm sure most people have heard of it, but why don't you go ahead and tell the listeners like how this came about, I guess would probably be
Yeah.
the best way to start.
Yeah, no problem. So, the SDBA, Southeastern Drag Bike Association. Um, I come from what I like to think is a fairly long line of motorcycle drag racers. My grandpa started doing it in the late 70s, early 80s.
Wow.
My dad joined in the early 80s. He ran up until 93. Um, ran Top Gas was I think Top Gas was as fast as he got to running IDBA and Pro Star. And then I raced juniors from the time I want to say I was 6
Oh wow.
until I was like 13. Back when like and Dustin remembers it was like the beginning of junior dragsters. It
Back when
was
they're actually like lawnmower engines and stuff.
yeah,
The,
like
the big heavy wide cars.
yes, like
Yeah.
my first car was literally a Briggs and Stratton crate motor that my grandpa ordered and threw on that thing and ran like 13 nines.
I kind of wish I still had my very first junior because I know a Busa motor would fit right in that thing. It would be
Yeah.
perfect.
So so what's funny is the reason that I got started racing juniors was my grandpa and my dad bought this bought a junior frame, and they were planning to put a Rotax snowmobile motor in it.
What?
And
It'd be way faster than a Briggs.
yeah, like they had the motor like had already like made it to where it would fit everything, but my dad couldn't fit in the frame.
Oh,
So,
man.
so then they were left with this car, and they're like, "Well, I guess we'll let Sonny race it." And
Awesome.
so yeah, I that's where I started, and then 13 years old, I quit juniors and started racing motocross. Raced motocross for quite a long time till I about killed myself, and
I feel
then
like that's how most motocross careers go. They're
yeah,
like
my
everything was going great, doing good, and then I injured myself.
No,
yeah,
realistically, that's one of the most injury
Oh, for
prone
sure.
sports.
oh
Motocross
yeah,
is
for sure.
rough, but it also makes some really good riders at the
Hella
end of
Yeah.
that.
riders.
Yep.
Um, yeah, my last motocross practice day ended with me taking a life force flight, bleeding out my ear,
Holy shit.
cracked eye socket in 2 places, crushed septum, broken collarbone, broken shoulder blade, broke the base of my skull, had a grade 4 concussion,
You weren't
blood coming
joking.
out my ear. Yeah.
In short, that means he was up.
Yeah. Yeah. It was rough. So the doctor told me, he was like, listen, he's like, think of it, your brain is an apple and all the concussions are bruises. He's like, you've kind of run out of good space. So now they're overlapping each other. And when you overlap, that's when you have brain damage. And I was like, oh, okay. So
I get
I'm
it.
gonna quit.
It'd
I'm
be
gonna
fine.
quit this. Yeah. So I just didn't race anything. I switched to riding street bikes for I think 4 years. Yeah, 5 years. 5 years I rode street bikes strictly, and then uh my buddy Cooper, who James Cooper, he won the SDBA Heritage Award at our awards banquet a couple weeks ago. He was an old friend of my dad's, used to race with him. He called me up. He was like, hey, man, he said, I'm bringing you a drag bike. I was like, Coop, I've never ridden a drag bike in my life. And he was like, yeah, you'll figure it out. So he just brings over this GS 1150 wheelie bar bike that I think my fastest pass on it was a 567.
That's not bad at all.
No, my first rip on a drag bike, I want to say I ran like a 620.
And we're talking like lock up clutch, throw aggressive.
Yeah, it was
Like
a
it wasn't
true
a
hand
slider.
clutch.
Yeah.
True hand clutch GS 1150.
Yeah, so it was like all launch, like they leave so aggressive and they're like that.
Yeah. And
That's wild.
so I mean I rode it for a few years, and I got to where I was like, man, I really want to run a series, but there's not really any series that kind of keeps it local down here.
Tell
There's
everybody
not
where you're
really.
at. Exactly. Sorry.
Yeah, so I'm in Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Okay.
So Chattanooga is a really interesting, I think it's like the prime spot to be, because it's 2 hours from where I'm at. It's 2 hours to Knoxville, 2 hours to Nashville, 2 hours to Huntsville, 2 hours to Birmingham, and 2 hours to Atlanta. So it's just like, there's so many good tracks around. And I was like, man, like there's nothing close. Like if I want to run this series, I've got to go all the way to the Northeast, or if I want to run this other series, it might be in Florida and South Georgia and Rockingham and all over the place. I'm like, I work a 9 to 5 job. Like, I've got to be there on Monday, and I'm lucky if I can take. I'm good to take off on Friday, but like that's about it. And
Right.
I was like, I want somewhere that I can race, and so.
And you
So
kind of
this-
started having like little races like randomly too, right? At
Yeah,
Brainerd?
I started throwing a few races out at Brainerd. Like we would do a spring and a fall race.
Yeah.
And we had really good turnouts. They were real simple. It's just like pro ET, street ET.
Oh Lord, you said street T.
What? Hold on, let me put air quotes around street ET
Yeah.
for certain people.
Street style bracket racing. There we go.
Yeah. And we would throw in a couple indexes. Like, one race we might do 590 index and top gas, and one race we might do 60 and 560. And I was just kind of playing around and
Yeah, just mixing up and
enjoying it.
seeing.
I watched
And
one of them races from my phone while I was sitting at the almost about ready to go in the Gray Bar Motel. I was in New Jersey.
Oh, that was like
yeah.
the Gray Bar Motel. What the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, I was about to go in the Gray Bar Motel. I was watching y'all race. I'm like, I should have went down there instead.
Mm.
Oh,
Good times, man.
So it basically started out I don't know if you'd call it necessity, but you just
Yeah.
wanted a series near you. So you
I
started to make
tell
one.
everybody, I'm like, it was selfish. Like 100%, it was selfish. It was like, I want a place to race. I'm gonna make this place for myself to race.
Sonny's the perfect example of that guy that's like, I can make that. I'll just make my
Yeah.
own series. I ain't gonna
Yeah.
buy one or go to one. I'll just make my own.
Exactly. I mean, it's
Amish
like,
people.
it was like, man, it was like, I've done a few of these. They've turned out good. I called a few people and I was like, what do you think about this idea? It was January of 2020, and I called my buddy Brian Dell, and Brian, he was literally posting his stuff up for sale, and I called him. He was like, "Yeah, that sounds pretty cool. Good luck, blah blah blah." And then we hung up, and about 10 minutes later, he calls me back, and I was like, "Hey," he goes, "Hey, do you want to partner?" And I was like, "Sure." So, we partnered up. He brought a lot to the table because I was still pretty green. I mean, I started really racing motorcycles in 2017, and
Mhm.
from 2017 starting to ride or drag race motorcycles to 2020 starting an organization.
Yeah, that's quick.
Yeah, a little quick, and I was
Yeah.
still pretty green. I didn't know a whole lot of people in the industry for sponsorship and stuff, and Brian did.
Yeah,
And,
Brian's phone call was kind of like,
Yeah, yeah, Brian.
Thank you, Brian. That'll work.
Yeah, Brian called and he helped out a lot, and was a fantastic partner. And then at the beginning of the 2022 season, Brian found out that he kind of had some neck issues, and his doctor told him that he couldn't race motorcycles. The position that he was having to keep his neck in
Yeah.
was causing major damage to his spine, and he was like, "Man, I can't race. My business is getting crazy, and I need to step away." We worked out a deal, and I took sole ownership of it going into 2022. And yeah, I mean,
Well, that's cool that y'all were able to work together and get things going and everything. And
Yeah.
it sucks about Brian with the neck stuff. I mean, heck, I'll be honest. Sometimes I wonder after a weekend race, I'm like, man, is my neck crinked up?
Hey,
Yeah.
man, there's times that you look like you're about to break your neck when you race. I ain't gonna lie.
Well,
That thing's all jacked up looking.
I have noticed that Ben does look like some kind of
He makes a 90-degree neck turn with his
he
head.
really
I'm like,
does.
I'm
His
like, God, that
back
hurts
is
me.
like completely flat, parallel with
Yeah.
asphalt, and his neck is straight up.
Yeah, it's like Chris Moore. He does that too. I'm like, God
Yeah.
dang, you guys are breaking my neck just watching them.
But yeah, so
Oh,
when me
man.
and Brian started it, we kind of had like 3 main goals that we based SDBA on,
Uh-huh.
and we still hold to them. Like, and that's just all races, within 4 hours of each other.
Okay.
Good payouts, and making it family friendly and 1-day events. So I guess 4 main things,
Got it.
But I'd say the biggest things that we really tried to stick to were just good payouts, races within 4 hours of each other, um, and 1-day events. Because I mean, realistically, y'all know
I'm a huge
that
fan of those. Huge
that
fan.
that drive home late Sunday night after you've
Oh,
gone rounds Sunday night, and you've got to be at work the next day on Monday.
yeah,
Like,
there's
that's
nothing better than
rough.
like just loading everything up and then just going to bed after you hang out and then getting up Sunday morning when you feel like it and just driving home. I
Yep.
like that.
Yeah, that is nice for sure. I
You
don't want to
didn't get
bring
to
it up.
enjoy that because we had to run into Sunday at that race, but
Yeah.
Uh
No.
yeah,
Yeah.
It
because
was Sunday
remember, because my
morning.
dad got
Yeah.
hit.
Yeah.
My dad got
Oh
hit on
Yeah.
yeah.
Saturday, and we had the timing system go down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did kind of come
We
to a
were rolling
bad
though, but
event.
we were rolling, but it was just like a little piece of like we got to still leave and go home at a decent
We
time
left at
Sunday.
like, I think we finished up at like 3 o'clock Sunday.
Yeah, because I got
Yeah, it was
home and it
still
wasn't
early.
dark yet. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, you're right. I forgot about that. So tell me then a little bit, how did like the year one, and so what, this will be what, going into year three?
This is going into year 4.
Four?
Four.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you want to just kind of run through it real quick? I mean, we don't need detail, but like how was the first year, then the second, and
Yeah.
so on? Like,
Man, that
So
first race, the first year was a burner, son.
that
COVID
first
19
race,
bailed that one.
but COVID-19, everybody was like, COVID-19 did so much damage. I'm like, COVID-19 did me a huge favor because
Yeah.
nobody else was racing.
when
But
was that
Georgia,
race then?
It
it
was, see, the
was,
thing was funny was Tennessee was shut down, but the track is in Ringo, Georgia, which is like you can see the line.
yeah,
Right. Oh,
So,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
so people from everywhere was like wanting to race, and they just come to SDBA
dude,
sprint opener.
So it was
we
in
had,
April.
no, it
Yeah,
was May.
yeah, yeah. It was May.
Oh,
We
it was
had
in
one,
May? Wow.
yeah, it was in May because we had one scheduled. We had one scheduled at the beginning, beginning of April, one at the beginning of May. We had to postpone the first 2, and then we moved the third one. We set it up at Brainerd, and in May. And dude, I mean, Michigan, Connecticut,
Florida,
Louisiana,
Maryland.
Florida,
Wow.
everybody.
Yeah.
That's
Um,
wild.
I mean, that was our first race, and I think we had 260 entries or something.
Wow.
Um, so that first race really did us well, and we really had, well, and Dustin will kind of help me remember. We
He's
did
learned through the
Brainerd.
years where he's learned a lot about you got to know when to hold them and know when to fold them.
Yeah, we
Oh,
had
yeah, for
races
sure.
at we had races at oh yeah, the other really big thing that we had was that very first year, our second race, it was at Crossville,
With the
which
Street
unfortunately,
Outlaws.
yeah, and the Street Outlaws guys showed up. We
Were they
found out like
supposed to, or?
3 weeks before the race that they were coming. And so once again, gigantic packed house.
Yeah.
So y'all
Ryan
ran in
Martin,
conjunction with them?
Yeah,
yeah. So
they made passes while we was racing.
yeah, they came to make just some test passes, some
Oh, wow.
shakedown passes while we were racing. So we had Ryan Martin, Sean Ellington, Murder Nova, Jeff Lutz, and Chuck Sotsinger.
Yep.
Had all
That's
4 of
wild.
them. And dude, like, just a little aside, I know we're talking about SDBA, but Ryan Martin, like, you see him on the TV show, you're like, there's no way that guy's like really that nice of a person. Like,
So genuine. He's so
nobody's
genuine.
that genuine.
Yeah.
But like, I went up to Ryan. So I kind of met Ryan and Jeff and Chuck and Sean beforehand and was like, listen, you know, I'm running the motorcycle portion. If y'all need anything, let me know. If y'all need us to move, let me know. Like, we'll work together. Super easy to work with. But I went up to Jeff and Ryan standing in the burnout box. I was like, hey guys, so the week before this race, my dad had heart failure and was in the hospital in a coma. He came out on Thursday, and then we went to Crossville Friday and Saturday. And so I talked to Ryan and Jeff, and I was like, hey, my dad really wanted to be here. He had heart failure. He wasn't able to be here. But he just wanted me to tell y'all how much he likes y'all and enjoys watching you. And Ryan said, get your phone, call him on FaceTime, and let me talk to him.
Are you serious?
He damn near took Sonny's phone away from him. And
he did. He took my phone away from me and walked off. Him and Jeff just walked off and talked to my dad for like, 5-10 minutes.
That's epic, dude. That is so cool.
We're just like, man, we just want to, we're glad you're doing better. We're glad you're okay. Want to see you next time. Just literally the nicest guys, and forever earned like a fan from me. Like, I will always be a Ryan Martin fan from that one.
That's awesome. That's
but yeah, so that first year we had Brainerd, Knoxville, and Crossville. Those were our 3 races that we did 2021, or the 3 tracks that we went to, Brainerd, Crossville, and Knoxville. And man, we had just a stellar first year.
Yeah,
it really
sounds
went
like
well.
everything just worked out. Like, not for some other.
Sometimes Jesus has got to take the wheel. You know what I mean?
Jeebus, take the wheel.
Yeah.
I almost
help me, Tom Cruise.
Or at the awards banquet, I almost got my dad a steering wheel and gave him Jesus Take the Wheel award.
Oh wow! So that got you through year 1.
That got us through year 1. Year 2, we started year 2. I would say we maybe got slightly a little big for britches in that, like, we booked a race at Montgomery Motorsports Park.
By the way, it was a great racetrack. It was just far.
Fantastic racetrack.
Yeah, it was out our realm a little bit.
It was Mother's Day weekend. Let's see. It was a far drive. It was Mother's Day weekend, and that was the first time that we had agreed to do to kind of change up our track agreement. And just nobody showed up, man. I mean, we had guaranteed $3,000, like a $3,000 purse for 460, and I had 3 bikes show up.
Wow. At
$250 entry fee.
And you also had a big no box and box payout that weekend.
Yeah,
too.
we had a big 10K no box and a 10K box shootout on Friday as well. But yeah, I mean, it just.
And I'll say again, I love that racetrack. The track was awesome.
Too.
It was just far away. Yeah.
And it was just out there kind of in the middle of nowhere. And I mean, it didn't draw. It didn't draw like we thought it was. So
you kind of had a little setback, or your first major hurdle, I guess.
Yeah, had our first major hurdle there. And then we also added Huntsville that year, which Huntsville has just been fantastic. Everybody that I know of loves that track.
I'm a fan.
Yeah. Dustin's a big fan.
I'd almost just want to move down there. I don't know what it is about that track. I just race good there.
Yeah, Huntsville's a great track. And so 2022, or 2021, we had a good year. I wouldn't say it was a bad year. It was a good year.
A learning year.
Learning year for sure. And then in 2022, started back up. We added another southern track in Silver Dollar Raceway. Once again, another fantastic track.
Great track.
Wonderful.
People that didn't go missed out on a great track, to be honest.
Like Silver Dollar, that place, it was
underrated, man.
What was incredible to me was they prepped that track at the beginning of the day and after time trials, and that was it. They didn't touch the track,
And it didn't change. Like
and
it was
it
so
didn't
good all day.
change one bit. Nobody
Yeah.
spun. It didn't change. Like,
No, the
track
surface
was
just took the
fantastic.
treatment very well. Like it, people that didn't go really missed out on a great
Yeah,
experience. I mean, I don't regret, I regret the drive. It's a long drive, but like the track, once I got there and after we raced, I had nothing but positives.
yeah. But it was just, once again, nobody showed up. It was kind of far out there, and
Saying that, so SDBA had I think they might still have, but they had a deal where you could drop a race. So
yes,
of course people dropped the one race
Right.
that was far away.
right.
That's why I hate dropping races
That
because it
I
gives
mean,
people an
Yeah.
excuse.
that is the thing about it, I don't know.
I
It's
understand
a tough
dropping
thing.
because everybody has a bad race, but then on the other end, it hurts them as a business because they have to risk it for the biscuit.
Right, right.
Right. So, we the main reason I went down there was all the southern people were like, "Man, come bring a race down farther south so that we can race with y'all." And
Yeah, yeah.
I said, "Well, we came down to Montgomery and we had a bad turnout, but
No shows, man.
we'll
That
try
talk's
Silver,
cheap.
yeah, we'll try Silver Dollar." And once again, and then at that point, I was like, it's just obvious to me now, this isn't the direction we need to go.
Now, saying that on
So,
Montgomery, we had some guys from Oklahoma come, which was
yeah,
pretty
we
cool.
did. We
Yeah.
did. Old Chicken Wing himself.
Yeah.
Um,
Boy, that cam chain on that thing.
uh,
Shoo.
but yeah, we, it didn't work. So I'd say we learned some in 2021. 2022, I feel like I really learned the most. I saw, Crossville Dragway. I love Crossville, great facility, but it's just kind of out there in the middle of nowhere. And a lot of the bar bike guys aren't huge fans of the track.
The shutdown's real rough, and it just beats them to death.
Shutdown's kind of rough. I mean, especially on a bar bike. And it was just a low turnout. And just looking at numbers, it was like, okay, this isn't working. So going down south wasn't working. So it really gave me a lot of ammunition and knowledge to know what to do going into 2023.
Now, in
Yeah.
your
So,
defense, I've watched a lot of series get out of their realm and have low counts because of it. Like,
and that's what I felt like it was.
So
yeah,
what now?
I tell people,
I've watched a lot of series get out of their area, like their realm where
Oh,
they
yeah, yeah.
started at, and then they move out, and then the counts suffer every time that happens. Like
Yeah.
I've seen it many times. I mean, Man Cup, unfortunately, when they go to Rockingham, their counts ain't great. It just suffers.
I feel like we have a square,
You
basically
got like
from.
a eastern middle area.
I feel like we go from Atlanta to Knoxville to Nashville down to Huntsville
Yeah,
and then back over to Atlanta.
yeah,
Like, I feel like that's our target
core.
area. That's our
Yeah.
core racers are within
Mm-hmm.
there. So, you know, and that was kind of the whole thing with building the 4 hour drive, trying to implement the 4 hour drive rule. But so this year, um, learned what tracks not to go to, um, learned what tracks to look at, and learned, a few things. And so coming into 2022, I added Alabama International Raceway, which is in Birmingham, Alabama, often referred to as Steele, 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 Alabama. They just redid it. If you watch No Prep Kings, they did like the second to last race at Steele.
Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful track surface, awesome facility. And we were able to work out a deal with them for our May event. And then, kind of looking around, and I did hop out of our zone, but I think this is a move I think this is a move that's still going to bode well for us. We're going to Ohio Valley, Louisville, Kentucky in August, and I
Tell
feel
you
like
now,
that's
it's going to be hot there. Oof.
yeah.
I've raced there in the summer at NHRO a few times, and it's popsicles for me in the staging lanes. Like I'm telling you, fat man struggles.
Oh damn, yeah, that gave me bad flashbacks. Yeah, it was
Remember
hot
how hot it
last time I
was?
was there.
Yeah, it's like a jungle. Man, it's hot.
It
I
was
don't know
so
if it can get.
hot.
I don't know
Go.
if it can get hotter than Knoxville that first year, Dustin.
That was pretty bad, but I'm just telling you,
That
Louisville's a close number to that one. I'm telling you.
Sonny, it was so hot that I beat Dustin in the final of Pro ET because he
oof.
just
Well,
wasn't thinking.
no, man, I had a good lot. You had a better lot. It was just a good race, you
In
know.
fairness, and Dustin will confirm this or not, I'm pretty sure I was on a bar bike with a delay box and he was just slinging a clutch
Uh,
Bottom bulb killer.
on Bowman.
Man, I got to this year. I actually got to get my first win over Dustin, and then carried
that's
that. I got what I think we raced.
Man, you wore me out this year. I either red lighted on you or you just wore me out. One of the
I
other.
think me and Dustin raced 6 times, and I won 4 out of 6.
I won the war
that's
though.
that's something
You
that
did. You won the war. You turd.
well, hey, that's something to be proud of anyway, Sonny,
Dude,
because I would say that if Dustin and I raced 10 times, he would probably beat me 7 out of 10.
That's the crazy thing though, is like I don't never I mean, in my mind, everybody's probably beat me at some point. You know what I mean? 'Cause I race so much, it happens. Like
Yep.
I want to be perfect, but damn, I'm just not. You know what I mean? Like I just can't. You can't always win.
I remember the time the yeah, it was Silver Dollar. I beat Dustin in Super Comp, and I called my dad, and he was like, "Listen, Sonny," he was like, "if you beat Dustin in Street ET, you did something." He's like, "but if you beat Dustin in Super Comp, you really did something."
I was telling the DRR guys the other day that I've won the Super Comp Championship at SDBA every year, and I've
Yep.
also won it at XDA the past 3 years. So I feel like I'm sooner like this should be the season that somebody whips me and I get dethroned. Like it's bound to happen.
I
You know what
wish I was
mean?
good at a pro tree, but I'm not.
Yeah, I'm decent at it. I could be better. I got flaws.
I've got to go in deep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Got to go in deep.
for
I
sure.
did get a mallet magnet, so we're gonna see if that helps me out a little this year.
It will.
So you're gearing up for this year. Tell everybody what classes are regularly on the schedule. Just kind of give them
Yeah,
a rundown. That way they kind of know if they're interested in attending some events.
yeah. So we and this is also our race order. This is just how I've got it memorized.
There you
We got MPS Racing Pro ET. Pro ET is your standard Pro ET, delay boxes, bars, slicks,
Anything goes.
anything goes in Pro ET. Watergraphic junior dragster class. We have juniors because we've got a few parents that have kids that race juniors and they want to race motorcycles while their kid races juniors. So we've got the watergraphic junior dragster class. We've got now for 2022 Hard Times Parts and Service Street ET, air quotes Street ET.
go. Oh Lord.
We do allow Gen 2 clutches. Yeah, so we do allow Gen 2 clutches, no delay box, street tires, all that good stuff. And
It's street style bracket racing. That's what we do.
Yeah, and Hard Times Parts and Service Street ET. Got Weeks Performance 460. We've got Schnitz Racing Top Gas. And then we've got Dave's Auto Body V Twin, which is V Twin bracket racing. After that, we got MTC Engineering Super Comp, which is 560 index.
Okay.
All of our stuff is 8th mile. I meant to add that. All of our racing is 8th mile. So indexes are 510 for Top Gas, 560 for Super Comp. And then we've got after Super Comp, Bill Buller's Ultra Sportsman, which is 6.0 index. And then we just started it in 2022. It was a huge hit, huge success was Schnitz Racing Proving Grounds.
Mhm,
And
yep.
Proving
Good
Grounds
topic.
is
Our last episode, we talked about that.
okay.
Good topic.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to listen to it yet, but I'll listen to it on my flight tomorrow. Um, but yeah, Proving Grounds, it's true beginner. Like
And the
true
cool thing about it
beginner.
is it don't matter what kind of bike you race.
Yep.
Like
Yeah.
you can race any kind of motorcycle, but it's truly a beginner.
Yeah,
Yeah.
tell them exactly what that class entails because, as Dustin mentioned, our last, well, I guess I don't even know what to. Well, the episode that launched, when did we post it today, Dustin?
Yeah,
Yeah,
y'all
yeah.
posted
Sorry,
it
I'm
today.
just so confused. Anyways, we were, talking about street ET and clutches and stuff. So naturally, we kind of we gave our take on it, but then we also got into a true beginners class. So we brought up the proving grounds, and we talked for a little bit about it. So let everybody know,
Yeah.
reiterate what you got going on there and what the rules are for that class.
Yeah, so Proving Grounds is like true beginner. I go up to the line for testing and I watch. And sorry, hold on just a second.
Technical difficulties.
Yeah, I gotta plug my laptop in real quick. But yeah, so Proving Grounds it's true beginner. I go up to the starting line during testing and I watch because you can tell if somebody is a beginner. Like
Right, yeah.
you can tell. And so, I'm watching these guys, and there have been a couple times where I'm like,
Yeah, me and Ben talked a little bit about it. I said, I've watched the Proving Grounds racers improve as the year went on. Like the first year, they kind of make me cringe, and then as the year went on, I've seen improvement in just their riding. Not even necessarily the racing, just the riding part.
Yeah, huge improvements. And
Yeah.
So
but I
how do you
mean,
get in? Is it at your approval or?
no, so I mean, you sign up and then you sign
Basically,
up.
Sonny polices it. Like, I mean,
Yeah,
if
you
he
sign
sees
up
somebody
and then
signed
I'll
up
pull
and they're
you
killing
out.
it,
I'll pull you out if you're not a beginner.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's
I got
free
you.
entry, no entry fee. There's no payout. You're just waiting on you're just racing for a trophy.
Okay.
I go up there, I police it, I watch, and I'm like, all right, you're good.
and
You're
it's been
good. You're
nothing but
good.
positive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in regards to the clutch issue, like when I looked at it, I was like, from a safety standpoint, like why would I not want you to run a Gen 2?
Exactly.
Like
That's exactly what Dustin and I talked about on it.
Yeah.
It takes more talent to ride a bike with a stock clutch. So how would it be an entry level class?
I'm like, if I've got a beginner that gets up there and they just dump it, gas it, I don't have to worry if they've got a Gen 2 in the clutch about them wrecking.
Exactly.
Right.
Well, I don't have as much of a worry, but
Yeah, I mean, when they're properly set up, that's kind of what Dustin and I went into at length. It's hard to say that they're not safer because they are. I mean, when you
and it also starts out the muscle memory of letting a clutch lever go. So then you could go if they wanted to stock clutch. You know what I mean? If they wanted.
Yeah. I mean, it's the only rule that there's two rules really for Proving Grounds, and that's no delay box and no two-step.
Gotcha.
Everything else is pretty much free game because, and this was the thing, a bunch of people were like, oh, it can only be street box and it can only be this. And I'm like,
a bar bike's safer to some point, I think.
Oh, I'm like, I'm thinking to myself, like,
you learned on a bar bike. I learned on a bar bike.
Cooper brought me a bar bike and said, here, am I not allowed? I'm just as much of a beginner, but am I not allowed to be in the beginner class because the bike I'm on? That doesn't make sense.
Exactly.
Right. Plus, you got bars you can't flip over. I mean, that's kind of what we got on with the Gen 2 clutch. When they're properly set up. I mean, Dustin can hand a bike over to someone who's never ridden, and as long as they listen, and even do a half-ass job at replicating what they're told, then they're going to be fine. So
It's an asset. It's an asset to help keep it safe and take a racer and let them get out there and get their feet wet and learn versus, getting the crap scared out of them. You know what I mean?
let me ask you this: are they allowed to race in any other classes or just that?
No, just that.
Okay. See, I like
Just
that.
that.
I think that's
And
a nice
that's how
format.
we police. That's part of the policing of it. Is it's like,
Right.
if you're really a beginner, like, this is what you're here for. You're here to learn to race.
And you're
Now,
not
how
going
did
to
you
try and
do
jump
that?
into something else. I get it.
Yeah, how
That
did
makes
you do
sense.
that? Like, do they move on after like a 2 championships or something, or how does
That's,
that work?
because this is our first year doing it.
Yeah.
If you win the championship, you get pushed on.
Okay. Okay.
But if you haven't won the championship, I mean, no, like,
Yeah.
I can't say like,
Well, it's going to keep out the regular racers that's
right,
seasoned anyway because there's no payout. You know what I mean?
exactly.
Like,
There's no payout.
No, I mean, I don't think you have to think too much about that. I mean, the
yeah,
basic rule
exactly.
set is there to, help people get them into it. And if they like it enough, they'll, progress and invest some time and
Yeah.
money and effort, and they'll move on to,
Well, I
wanting to
mean,
race
how
for
many
money.
people do you know? Like, only a true beginner is going to drive and come all the way, 3 or 4 hours for a race, knowing they're not going to even have a chance to win any money.
Right.
Exactly. They're just
Like,
wanting to do it for the
those are
pure
people
joy.
that just want to learn.
Right. Exactly.
And
And a
so
lot
the
of
other,
times you have parents that their kids are doing it while they're there.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yep,
So
and
Oh, that's
or like
awesome.
Don Chavis, I call him Don Chavu.
yeah.
Um, Don's daughter Ashley, she's learning this year, and she's going to enter into proving grounds. She rode his bike in proving grounds at Crossville, and she's just learning. Like,
Tim Layton, he
yeah,
races. His son was a champion, right, this year?
yep,
Yep.
Cole,
Yep. He done great, and he's got a good
yep,
mentor. His
and
father's a
he
good
was,
guide. So
and he actually had progressed to the point. I ran him. So we actually ran a race at Huntsville that was uh, in conjunction with Megan Bowers.
Mm-hmm.
She ran a race at Huntsville on Sunday. Well, I got paired up with Cole, who had been running proving grounds. I got paired up with him in Street ET. And this kid put like an 014 on me and ran dead 2.
yeah,
Oh, wow.
you're done.
And
You're done. This
and
is your last year.
Pack it up.
I pulled her, like, I followed him back to his pit, and I was like, that's it. He's like, what? I got lucky. And I'm like, listen, like, I've been watching, you've been improving.
It
You're
worked out
there.
good though.
You're
He got the
there.
championship, and now he's going on, and he
Yeah.
obviously has enough experience to do so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I
that's
mean,
great. I mean,
if you race any of us and you're 0-1 dead on, you're somebody's in trouble.
Yeah.
but that's what that's what we were talking about the other night. I mean, it's just great to have something like that, and that's really what it should be, because that's how you're going to get new people in, and it's not this high packed pressure situation. I mean, that's what we were talking about. And
Yeah.
don't take this, it's definitely not a knock, but I mean, we were talking about, like, if you found like the biggest bike event of the year that might have a couple thousand spectators and so on and so forth, like, I don't know too many people that are just going to go to that and try and learn or begin to race
Oh,
there. So, like, it doesn't make sense to, first off, and so we don't feel like you're going to see a lot of that. So it's nice to have, a smaller series that's, investing in this group and trying to get new racers into it. So that's great to hear.
yeah. Yeah. I mean,
I
like,
think every series should have something like that. My honest opinion.
yeah.
I mean, I don't disagree with that. I mean, you gotta keep new blood in it. I mean,
Well, what if like you're just at a race and a guy sees he's riding his bike and sees a bunch of motorcycles and pulls in. He plans to hang out all day, and then he's like, "Well, I'll get in that," and he might like it, and then before you know it, this guy's another racer. You know what I
We
mean?
had a dude at the finals who, like, rode his bike to put it in the bike show. And then he was like, I'm going to race too. Like, and just jumped in proving grounds.
Yeah.
that's
I
awesome.
mean, it was Yeah, I mean, it's been a huge success.
That's a
I'm
perfect
happy with it.
example. That's a perfect example of what I think it's an asset for. The people that come that's planning on racing it, and then maybe the guy that just shows up and goes, "Man, this looks like fun," and
Yeah.
it don't cost you nothing to try it, and then before you
Yep.
know it, that guy's at the races next year racing with us.
Yep.
Because
awesome.
the growth of the sport is what's important, not about who can win and who makes easier for them to win and this and that. It's about building the sport up and keeping people interested and getting new faces in the crowd instead of the same old faces, in my opinion.
Yep. Exactly.
For sure. So tell everybody then, just, do you want to highlight what you got going on this year real quick? Because I know you got some travel plans coming up, so you can't stay on and talk with us all night long.
Yeah, I wish I could. I would. I'll have
No,
to
we
get back on
appreciate it.
with y'all another time and we'll
Oh,
do
for
it.
sure.
But yeah, so 2023 SDBA. Our first race is March 30th, April 1st at Brainerd Motorsports Park in Ringgold, Georgia. Second race is May. Let me pull my calendar up. I want to say it's the 26th of May. 26th and 27th of May at Alabama International Dragway. Then our third race is June 23rd and 24th at Huntsville Dragway in Huntsville, Alabama. Then we've got August. I want to say it's August 11th and 12th. Is it August 11th and 12th? Or it might be the 18th and 19th. I don't have my schedule in front of me.
All right, just roll with it.
But yeah, that's Ohio Valley in Louisville, Kentucky. After that, we've got September 8th and 9th at Huntsville Dragway again. And then closing out the year, October 27th and 28th at Brainerd Motorsports Park. 6 races, no drops in the point series. I mean, it's a great time. If you've got any questions about rules or schedule or anything, you can find it on our Facebook page. Facebook group, Southeastern Drag Bike Association, SDBA, or you can go to southeasterndragbike.com. Find any information you need there.
Just hit up your local Amish store. They know all about
it. Yeah. Dude, did I ever tell you about the Amish deli in Crossville?
Yeah, you did. Yep.
Yeah, I'll tell you this in closing, Ben. There's an Amish deli in Crossville, but they make some of the best sandwiches, and I went in there when we were in Crossville racing. And I thought their cousin walked in that place. I walked in, and everybody just like turned and looked at me and was like, "What? Why are you wearing normal clothes?" Yeah, I do get some strange looks whenever I go into an Amish store.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny.
Is that my cousin?
Well, we know you got to run, Sonny. Thanks a lot
for guys,
coming on the
podcast.
Yep. Yeah, we appreciate the support, and you were our first guest, so looking forward to
super glad.
Yeah, we're looking forward to putting this together.
Yeah, I mean, you can find you'll be able to find Red Hill podcast logos on SDBA media coverage and the SDBA website and all of our stuff. We're adding the logo to everything. Support those who support you, and yeah.
Well, we really appreciate it, and
glad to work with y'all.
Yeah, we're hoping that we can get some more people to come out. And personally, I mean, I'm not going to guarantee it. I'm going to look at the schedule, but I'd love to make it out again because I did have a good time last year. So would love to join.
We'd love
for
to have you.
time.
I know the second episode or first episode you were talking about trying to make Louisville, Ohio Valley.
Oh, was that the one?
Yeah, that was the one. You and Dustin were talking about trying to hit up.
Gosh, I don't even remember now. Dustin's the one that's always bad, though. He's always like, well, I don't have a schedule. I'm like,
I don't make schedules.
I got a calendar on my wall. I look at
one race at a time for me.
Oh, man. All right, we'll let you get off here.
All right, guys. Take care.
Sonny.
See you, buddy.
Talk to y'all next time.